First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
Dr. Scott Conard is on the line right now. He is a doctor, clinical researcher, and will measure people's psychological stability, which I think he's kind of looking at mine right now and wondering, what have I gotten myself into? Oh, Lord. Doc, good morning. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning. Yeah, I've got some Alzheimer's pills I was going to talk to you about.
Yeah, that might be where I'm going. What's that drug they keep pushing on TV? Prevagen or whatever I can remember everything now. It's unbelievable. One pill. Yeah. Listen, this is big news, and you knew that sooner or later we're going to come up with something to prevent or treat COVID-19, and it looks like we're pretty close on this, right?
Well, if I could be really honest to you, yesterday the president and CEO of Pfizer came out and said, we have a drug that has been tested in animals. It's never been tested in human beings. It usually takes 6 years to get this approved. I'm going to tell the news we're going to do it in 6 months. And by the way, 90% of all drugs that enter human trials fail. So when I saw this story, it was like, wow, it either or he's trying to get his stock price up. I'm not sure. The concept is great, but this is so early in development that it's really hard for me to get excited about it right now.
They're even talking about that they're working on some drug that would prevent all coronavirus, including the common cold. I mean, that'd be great, but man, I would think we're going to want to do some real testing on something like that.
Yeah, we're going to have to. And the other thing is that we've got a vaccine right now that works that keeps you from getting sick completely, 95+%, and it's very safe. And you're talking about a drug that hasn't been developed yet, that hasn't been tested yet. So I hope people don't get distracted because in America, I hope we don't have COVID-19 or COVID-20 or COVID-21 around when this drug comes out. But and by the way, I'm sure there's dozens of clinical trials beginning on similar drugs. This is the same type of drug that we treat hepatitis C or HIV with. It blocks an enzyme that keeps the virus from reproducing. Yeah. So, great if we get it done. Great if we can get it done in 6 months. But, the best way to treat coronavirus is to not have coronavirus in your body that's reproducing.
And to get a vaccine, right? Now wait for the pill.
Exactly.
I wanted to ask quickly, so they're doing the trials on this now, but I guess if this wouldn't be ready till next year, we already have a vaccine that will fight the existing form of coronavirus. How do we know that this pill they're working on is going to be able to battle the variants? The thing is, the point is that what he was trying to make is that it would block an enzyme that would prevent it from reproducing. But again, this hasn't been tried. This drug hasn't tried in one human being, and we know that 90% of drugs fail when we get into human being trials. Yeah. So this is he was on the news. If you actually go back and look at the interview that he did, he was talking about the immunization and how effective it's been and what's going on in India and in third world countries. It'd be great if we had a pill to keep the virus from reproducing so we didn't get all these variants. And he mentioned that Pfizer is starting clinical trials. And he would like to see them get done by the end of the year. But this is taken completely out of context. It's not the be-all, end-all, save-all. This was just part of a bigger conversation around what are we going to do to keep COVID from spreading around the world and us getting the variants.
Yeah. What do you what is your professional take on the vaccines right now?
Okay, so I've been doing a lot of research. I have 24 companies. What I do, I'm a family doctor. I work with people, obviously 20% of my prime, but 80% of the time I work with corporations that try to keep their employees and the family members well. And, back in December, I was a real skeptic about the vaccine that was coming out because I wasn't sure that it was going to be safe. But we're 200 million doses into it now, and there's a 0.00018% chance of a problem, whereas there's a 1.8% chance of dying if you get COVID. So I've had all my patients, and particularly those at high risk, my family members, everybody get the vaccine. And, we've gotten some sore arms, we've gotten some fatigue. But, man, I also have good friends who refuse to get the virus. One of them just had a C-section that took a 28-month-old, week-old. Wow, I'm awake. a 28-week-old baby, and she's in ICU and may not live. So
my goodness.
for me right now, it's just it's a
no-brainer.
Get vaccinated, please. We want to save your life and the people around you.
And then, how much of this decision by the CDC, in your opinion, do you take at face value? That is to get rid of the masks. What is yours? Or is this a wag the tail, wag the dog? Is this a distraction?
I really appreciate the fact that we've changed. One of the things I always worry about is some politician said something, and so they don't want to go back and honor science. But the truth is that when you look at the transmission of COVID by people who've gotten the vaccine after 2 weeks of the second dose, by the way, I'm not talking about the day after, but 2 weeks after the second dose, more and more research is coming out to say there's very, very little, almost no chance that they're going to pass it on or have a problem. So to me, as a doctor, I've been scratching my head about this thing, and the fact that they said, we were a little bit too conservative. Let's open up, be a little bit more liberal. The two things. Number one, I think they're trying to reward people for getting the vaccine.
I do too,
because we're all sick of masks.
Incentivize,
but number two, the science supports this. So I feel really good about the recommendation, and I hope it does encourage the people who are sitting on the fence to go ahead and get it done, and don't take the chance of getting COVID, because it's a miserable disease.
Listen, we two of the three of us had it in December, and both of us have gotten the vaccine. So I think you gotta at some point we have to trust science. I really believe that, right? I mean, or do you trust Facebook? Let me see. I'm not sure which. Right?
Well, but how hard could we make it? I mean, if you take the the whole thing of the J&J vaccine, of the bloggers, the 5 biggest bloggers, and the people who got the millions and millions of views, the top 3 of them had nothing to do with science. They were, people out there promoting their brand and building their brand, which they did effectively, but what they were putting on their blogs was just absolute nonsense. Yeah. So it's really hard for the average American to know what's true and what's either a political agenda or a personal agenda.
It's interesting when you compare what we're going through right now to 1918, same arguments about the masks and everything else. The difference was it usually took a newspaper a couple of days to get to you. Here, people are being bombarded with electronic information 1,000 times a day, it seems. And that is a part of what we're going through right now, social media and the quickness of news being delivered, whether it's real or fake. That plays a big role in this today.
Yeah, it does, and but I also trust the innate intelligence of the American population. So for those listening on the show today, keep listening into people like your, like the shows like this one, I should say, where you're going to get good information, you're going to get real news. They're going to have people come on that are going to tell you the truth, and listen across the marketplace, and you'll make good decisions. And right now, we see the American people going out. A lot of them on the fence are not getting the immunizations, and we're going to get this COVID thing behind us.
Dr. Scott Conard, thanks for the time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Right. Have a great day.
I can't wait to get the COVID virus behind us.
I can't wait for that either.